Hello and welcome to the Wellness Wednesday webinar series brought to you by the Family and Community Health Sciences Department of Rutgers Cooperative Extension. Before we get started with the presentation on yoga and mindful meditation, we'd like to ask you a few questions about your demographics. These questions are used to report to the USDA to ensure that we are reaching a diverse population. Also, at the end of the presentation, you'll be asked a few questions about what you thought of the webinar. Please make sure to hit finish and exit when you are complete. Thank you so much for your participation.
Okay, welcome to the Wellness Wednesdays with FCHS webinar series brought to you by the Family and Community Health Sciences Department of Rutgers Cooperative Extension. My name is Sherry Soriano. I'm an FCHS educator for Warren County, and I'm going to serve as your host today. I'm so excited to be hosting this presentation on yoga and mindful meditation, certainly a topic that we can all benefit from. By educating ourselves on this topic, we can hope to improve our health and reduce our stress levels. So it gives me great pleasure today to introduce our presenters, Joanne Kinsey and Christine Zellers. Joanne is a family and community health sciences educator and associate professor at Rutgers Cooperative Extension in Atlantic and Ocean counties. Ms. Kinsey has a master's degree from Drexel University. She's certified as a workforce wellness specialist and is also a registered yoga teacher. Joanne's specialization areas are nutrition, worksite wellness and healthy lifestyles, human development, laughter therapy, and technology and education. She has also developed the Healthy on the Job Workforce Wellness Program, which provides evidence-based information to employers and their employees. Joanne also enjoys making simple online recipe videos for consumers. Christine Zellers is the Family and Community Health Science County educator in Cape May, where she educates the community on wellness, nutrition, and fitness. She has extensive experience collaborating with partners to create healthy food environments in the areas of policy, systems, and environmental change. In addition to community health policies, Chris works to educate residents on topics to improve their overall health and prevent chronic disease with a holistic approach to a well-lived quality lifestyle that includes physical activity, a nutrient-dense diet, and quality sleep. So without further ado, I will hand things over to Joanne and Chris.
Thank you, Sherry. This is very exciting. Thank you for everyone for being here with us today. First, let's take a few minutes to talk about yoga and what it is. It's because some people may have heard about it, I'm sure, but not really know what it's all about. But yoga means bringing you as a person, your mind and your body together. So it basically means union of the mind and the body. And by practicing yoga, it gives us an opportunity to kind of take a little time and look inside ourselves and sort of look for the goodness that we have in ourselves, but also look for that in those around us. It's a really awesome opportunity to kind of practice, and that's the word we use, practice joining together this breath, the body and the mind in a very harmless way. So there is no pain, no gain kind of thinking in yoga. It's all positive. It gives you the opportunity to kind of look at opposites in your life and really experience that. So in your yoga practice, you may be doing something on the right side of your body or the left side of your body, or you may be in one pose or position, but you're always going to be going to the opposite side. So if you are laying on the floor, let's say on your back, and your knees are into your chest, which is a very comforting kind of position, then you're always going to then straighten your legs out and do the opposite pose. So it's always this back and forth between opposites. So you get to look at flexibility and strength. You get to practice receiving energy from people around you, and also giving energy. In the inhale and exhale is a great example of how we practice the opposites. But by doing yoga practice, we also learn so many things about us and about the world around us. We also get to practice courage by trying something new, and humility too, by saying, maybe we just don't know everything sometimes, and that's okay. We're always going to focus on that mind-body connection. And what's so interesting about yoga is that as you practice, you're practicing movements with your body, that it helps you to focus better and to bring some clarity to your mind as well, because everything is engaged in a yoga practice, following instructions, making sure you're safe, doing a pose correctly so that you don't harm yourself, and it helps you also to kind of feel how you are in your surroundings too. So it's a great perspective. Yoga goes way back to looking back 3,000 to 5,000 years ago. And the interesting thing is that it's all about practice. It's never considered perfect, and that's why it's called practice. We're always practicing this, and there's always something that we can do to improve. In the graphic that I included on the slide, it gives you a chance to see what mind and body, what breathing and physical movement can be, and how simple it can be. For example, in the first picture there, the person is actually inhaling and raising arms up in the air, and then exhaling and bringing her arms down. Sometimes it's maybe a movement front to back. It doesn't matter what the movement is, but your breathing always follows your movement. Excuse me, my cursor gives me some little issues once in a while. So as you work towards more balance in your body, you're also going to find there's going to be balance in your life too. And when we were talking about stress reduction in the introduction, that's where yoga really comes into play and can be very, very useful, because you learn some strategies to help you to combat stress and how to relieve stress. But as your body becomes balanced, you start to emerge this sort of sense of understanding yourself a little bit better and a little bit more clarity that way. And also expressing gratitude and compassion for yourself and for those around you. We get a better picture of people and the goodness in them as we practice yoga, because yoga will teach us some humility, and it will teach us to slow down sometimes, to take a deep breath, kind of observe a situation, and then move forward. We could all use those skills, right? So let's just take a real quick look at some yoga terminology that you may be familiar with or not. There's actually lots and lots of yoga terminology, but I chose just to look at 3 today that are very simple. Asana is the physical movement that you do in a yoga practice. So if we were breathing and raising our arms up and down, that would be part of our asana. And we are always keeping an eye on keeping our body safe and in good placement so that we don't hurt ourselves. Prana, this one's very important. This is the breath. The life force in our bodies is our breath. So if you've heard pranayama as a term before, this means the extension of breath control, or practicing breath control, so that we can make that movement happen while we're doing our breathing at the same time. You may have heard the vinyasa, and that is basically the routine as part of the practice. So, I mean, you could have 1,000, a million different vinyasas, depending on what works for you or what the teacher is focusing on. If you're going to a class or you're looking at an online class or something like that, the vinyasa is basically the movement from one pose to the next. Oh, and by the way, since we have had, some kind of shutdowns in the past year or so, yoga has taken off very much online as well. I know most studios moved from face-to-face practice to online practice, and most continue to do that today. And by the way, yoga is for people, men and women, of all ages. And it's very common in a yoga class to see varying age of people. You may see some very young people, and you may see senior citizens very easily in the same classes. So what isn't yoga? We'll just start with this right off the bat. Yoga is not a religious practice, and it is not just focused on exercise. It's focused on bringing the mind and the body together through the breathing. So yoga is something that when we do practice it, it can happen anywhere. It's always fun to practice yoga in an interesting place, like on the beach, or maybe you can do some practices just looking out your window or sitting on your deck. But basically, what you need to do is take yoga as your companion to help you to be a happier and more balanced person. So what about the health benefits of yoga? I mean, this is really what it all boils down to, and why it has become so extremely popular in our country in the past number of years. There are physical benefits because as we're practicing poses, we're learning more about flexibility and strength. And we all know that we need to maintain flexibility and strength as we age. We need to have some core strength to keep our body upright and to keep our body healthy. But the physical benefits very often help to relieve pain. And in my personal issue in going with yoga was that I tend to have a very cranky lower back. I don't know why, but I do. And I find that if I stretch gently with yoga practice, it helps relieve that pain. And many doctors will tell you, chiropractors and other medical practitioners, that yoga is actually very good for you. And it helps you to kind of relieve some of those subtle issues in your body without having to seek any type of medical advice. Of course, there are times when you need to seek medical advice, and you need to do that as well. Yoga is great for improving your circulation because the poses that you do in a practice kind of work from head to toe. So we're kind of waking up different parts of our body and doing some gentle movements to help stretch and get the blood flowing, basically. So it really does help with the circulation quite a bit, and it helps to reduce stress, and it teaches us how to deal with stressful situations. And that is a huge takeaway from yoga and mindfulness. So what about the mental benefits? It really does help you feel good about yourself, kind of in control of something that you can take on and work towards, maybe on a daily basis, maybe a couple of times a week, just to see what you can do to make your body stronger. Maybe you'll see benefits right away in terms of making your body feel really relaxed sometimes. So it makes us feel good about ourselves. And it also does help with that focus, clarity, and ability to concentrate. And we all need that. We need to keep that brain exercised to keep us healthy too. It teaches us how to quiet the mind. Very difficult to master. Quieting the mind. Your mind is always, moving so quick through the past into the future that it gets so busy. It's not in here and now in the moment. So yoga gives us that chance to say, slow it down. Let's focus on our breathing. And we are in this particular moment. There is a spiritual component of yoga but it's not in a religious sense at all. It's more of enlivening our spirit, the spirit within us, and who we are, and who we want to be. It helps us to become aware of those feelings. And as you experience those moments of quieting your mind, it really kind of opens up your thinking, and your acceptance and of other people and other situations. It helps us kind of reach out and be connected. You may be very happy doing yoga alone at home, and that's great. Some people are very happy doing yoga in a studio with other people. Just feeling that support and that oneness kind of does help you to feel very interconnected with other people. Yoga is very good about teaching us to love ourselves and others unconditionally. The term is usually loving kindness. So if you accept who you are, where you are, what you can do, then you're more likely to accept that in those around you. So along this path, we can improve our health. We can improve our state of being in terms of our happiness. We can learn to be a little bit more tranquil when we need to, and use that as a tool. It's a great tool to have in your toolbox. And we do become more compassionate, and kinder to ourselves, because it starts at home, right? We have to be kind to ourselves before we can be kind to other people. That's really what yoga is all about. So let's do a little bit of practice. We're going to do some very, very simple yoga practice, just to kind of get the feel for it. Yoga practice is very much focused on the breathing. So what I'd like you to do is sit maybe with your hands either on top of a table, if that's in front of you, or on your lap, and have nothing in your hands. And if you could just lower your eyes to look down, and if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. That would be good. But we're going to tune out a lot of what's happening around us by looking down and just breathe. Just breathe through your nose, out through your nose if that's comfortable. You can breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth if that's comfortable. Don't change your breathing. I know you're probably thinking, when you say don't change your breathing, you automatically pay attention to it. Just breathe. How does it feel? The air coming in your nostrils, is it cool? Is it warm? Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Okay, this is our normal breathing. Normal breathing can be very calming all by itself. In yoga, we also practice some controlled breathing. So let's try this one. I'm going to just slide back just a little bit more so you can see me. What you can do is put one hand on your chest and one hand on your abdomen. And just breathe, normal breathing, and feel it. Feel the air coming in your lungs. Now let's try a little bit deeper breathing. This is called a 3-part or Dirja breathing. So on the inhale, and it takes some practice, but just give it a try. On the inhale, you want to first inhale in 3 different places. So you're going to start the inhale in your abdomen and then work it up to your midpoint, and finally up to your chest. It's a deep breath, but then when you breathe out top from your chest, then the midpoint, and then you collapse your abdomen. I know that's a lot to do, right? Try it again. Start from your abdomen. Start that breath really deep from the abdomen, Then you'll feel it in the midpoint. Fill up those lungs. Exhale from the chest, midpoint, and then abdomen. Let's try it one more time, and you can practice this on your own. But let's try one more time. Start the breathing in the abdomen. Breathe in, midpoint, deeper breath, filling up the lungs, and then exhale from the lungs to the ribs, and then collapsing the abdomen. Okay, that one does take a little bit of practice. That is a very good opportunity for you to start to manipulate your breathing in a positive way. Now, if that is not comfortable for you, then of course you will not do it. It is comfortable for many people, and if it's not for you, that's okay. Let's try this. This is an even simpler breathing. This is a very good relaxation breathing. So again, if you're comfortable with your eyes closed, that's fine, or your drishti, which is your vision, is down very, very low. So we're just breathing gently in and out. So now I want you to try this. Breathe in through your nose, like not a real deep breath, just a little bit. Breathe in, out through the mouth, slow. Okay, the inhale, it's deep, and exhale, slow. Do this again. Inhale, exhale. Now try it on your own 2 times. Take your time. One more time. Okay, you may not have noticed, but in between your breath, there was a slight pause. Your body pauses after the breath is in. It's very slight. And then you exhale. That's really the controlling your breathing part of your body. Again, you're going to do this in any way that's comfortable for you. I suggest you either look to participate in a class on breathing or find a very reliable source online, perhaps through the Yoga Alliance or Gaia, G-A-I-A. That app is very good for classes that are super simple, beginner level. And you know what? You may never get out of beginner level, and that's okay, because that's where you need to be. So let's just think about this. We did some breathing. How do you feel? Did it change your breathing? Maybe you're breathing a little more heavy now. Maybe not. Maybe you're thinking about your breathing more. Maybe you're noticing the air as it moves in and out of your body. And maybe you're understanding that you can control that. It takes time, it takes practice, and that's what yoga is all about. So I am going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Chris Zellers.
Thanks, Joanne. That was wonderful. And I know yoga practice has been a challenge for me all of my life. And again, I like that you use it is a practice. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. You all notice as I go through, doesn't look like I started from the beginning. As I go through my mindfulness and meditation practice, how, in description of this, I also refer to it as a practice. So you can make note of that as well, because it's something that you do need to practice, like Joanne said, same type thing. Today, my objectives are going to be to kind of let you know the health benefits of having mindful meditation as part of your lifestyle. I'm going to give you some easy starting points for beginners and ways to be able to practice mindful meditation. We're going to take a little minute like Joanne did and practice some mindful meditation as well. So the term mindfulness is used in many ways in today's society. I myself use it in many of my presentations when I'm talking about mindful eating, And it'll come up in different, ways of life. I guess we describe it throughout our society today. So I wanted to break down mindfulness and then also meditation and how they're kind of combined for mindful meditation. So Dr. John Kabat-Zinn defines mindfulness as paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment and non-judgmentally. As an example, if we're speaking of mindful eating, for instance, it would mean eating with nothing but eating happening. So we wouldn't have electronics on, no TV or reading to distract us from the act of actually consuming the food. It would mean not only tasting the food, but realizing the texture as we chew it, what the smell is, how hot or cold it might be, and the act of chewing in that moment. Likewise, it would mean not being judgmental about what we're doing. So enjoying the moment for what it is and recognizing that if there is judgment, it's fine. Just move that aside and try to think of it in a positive way. Direct that judgment to be kind to yourself in a positive manner. So for instance, if you're eating a salad, instead of saying, oh, salad's tasteless, I'm not enjoying this, try to make it more positive. As you're chewing, think about how crunchy and crisp the salad is and the flavors that you're enjoying from it, some new flavors you might be enjoying, and how it's providing your body with nourishment, and it's going to help your body be strong and healthy. So in terms of mindfulness when you're eating, I wanted to give you that example so you could kind of think about how you need to think about mindful meditation as we move through that. So I figured eating was something everybody already did, so we could use it in those terms. According to Patel, Jewell, and Rhodes, who wrote a mindfulness guide for adults, mindfulness has many different definitions, and we can have different interpretations, and it can have a different effect on every individual. They say when we give our mind and body the opportunity to experience mindfulness through awareness, appreciation, curiosity, and kindness to oneself and others, it can create an enlightened, reflective, and optimistic experience. So, they're really saying that mindfulness can be something very positive for everyone, and that's the way we want it to be. I recently took a long course or training on mindful meditation. And when I told people that I knew I was doing this, several of them responded with, I would really love how to do mindful meditation. But when I try to meditate, I can't stop my thoughts. They're always intruding and they stop me from focusing on actually meditating. So I felt that way too when I first started, and I wanted to explain a little bit more about mindfulness and meditation, or mindful meditation, to reduce some of the stress around this practice. It's not supposed to be stressful, it's supposed to relieve your stress. So Patel, Jewell, and Rhodes again define meditation as formal mindfulness practice that strengthens present moment awareness. Think of a mindful meditation as a weight-bearing exercise of the mind. So just like you would lift weights to strengthen your arms, this is a way to strengthen your mind. It strengthens the muscles of your mind and improves your stamina to be able to focus on the now. So it gives you that opportunity to be able to kind of slow down and be in what you're doing. So as I said, I started practicing this, and as I did the training, it was really interesting to me that when I took the time to do some of these mindfulness meditations, it really helped me to take focus back into what I was doing. And in fact, I just did one before I did this presentation to help slow me down and take the stress out of being a public presenter. So as I said, people often think of meditating and thinking of nothing and not allowing thoughts into your mind. But the practice of mindful meditation allows for what is natural, which is thinking. Our minds are constantly thinking, and that's what our minds are supposed to do. So just take a minute to sit quietly and realize how many thoughts pop into your head. So just, nobody can see you on camera. Just close your eyes a minute and think about everything that's popping into your head. It's probably a lot. I know sometimes when I try to quiet my mind, it's like rapid fire coming in there, right? All these thoughts are entering. Our brains are designed to think, and thinking is going to naturally occur. So rather than stressing over not thinking, Recognize the thought. So recognize whatever you're thinking about. So if you're trying to do mindful meditation, you're trying to quiet yourself down, and the thought comes in, wonder what we're going to have for dinner tonight, which is probably something that might pop into everyone's head. Take that thought and just push it aside and say, okay, not right now. I'm going to deal with that later. And don't let it become a stressful thing. If it comes back, that dinner, you're hungry, thinking about what you want, acknowledge it again and try not to expand on it, but rather, again, let it go. Doing this is really going to help you overall with your self-awareness and your self-confidence. And it's also teaching the mind to more easily let go of troubling thoughts and move away from stressful thoughts and support a less stressful lifestyle. As you practice mindful meditation, try to focus on something simple. Joanne just taught us about breathing. So it doesn't have to be a specific breath like a yoga breath, but rather just the feeling that you're having of your stomach going up and down. Focus on that. Or maybe focus on the sensation on your skin if you're outside and the cool breeze on your skin. Something that is staying constant while you're doing mindful meditation that you can kind of anchor yourself in is what we call it, anchoring your mind and the thought of the breath you're feeling, or the feel of the touch on your skin. So it's also really important to remember that just like, if you're training for a 5K, you're not going to get up one morning after never running and just go out and run a 5K, right? So you're going to take time to practice that and build up to that. It's the same thing for the practice of mindful meditation. You really need to take time to learn it, practice it, get better at it. You'll improve. I know when I started, I improved a little bit and then I got a little bit worse and then I got better again by sticking with it. So it's something that, it's going to take practice. It's going to take time, but it'll really allow you to reap the physical and mental health benefits of mindful meditation if you practice it. So what about the health benefits? The practice of mindfulness is really going to differ for each person. Each person on this call is likely to have a different outcome, which really has made the study of this and the health benefits difficult to report and summarize. However, Davis and Hayes did a review of several mindfulness practices back in 2011, and they concluded that the use of mindfulness as used to improve emotional resilience and physical health can positively influence overall well-being. So it has a really definite impact on us in overall well-being. According to Patel, Jewel, and Rose from Maryland Cooperative Extension, in their Mindful Activities Guide for Adults, regular mindful meditation practice can have significant improvements on both physical, mental, and emotional well-being. So let's talk a little bit why this may be. Our bodies are conditioned through nature, going way back, to respond to frightening or stressful situations. And how our bodies respond to that is by the fight or flight response. So for instance, if you see a bear in your backyard, your natural instinct is to fight or fight to avoid harm from the bear. Your body and mind might tell you, I can either fight this bear, try to fight it off, or I can get away from it. So I'm going to run. This natural response that was learned as part of our survival traits holds true today to a certain degree as well. We don't often run into bears in our yards, and some people do, but not often. But we still have that fight or flight response inherently in us to stressful situations as they occur in daily life. So for instance, you might have that occur in general, like for something at work in an email. So you might get this email from someone at work and, it's really stressful. So you might respond really negatively to that person or to another person that sends a similar email in response. And that person might be, wow, that's a really harsh response. I wonder what it was. And you're fighting back on that response in that email. Or it might anger you or upset you so much that you just don't even respond at all. So you kind of flight from that email and you stay away from it. So use email because that's something that a lot of us do on a daily, basis, and it can cause stress. So even though it's not, intended to harm us necessarily like a bear might be wanting to harm us, we take that response in how we live. And that negative response to the email causes stress, and this buildup of stress over time can really impact our physical and mental and emotional health. So that's why the practice of mindful meditation can really help you to slow down, take your time, and respond a little bit better in everyday life. So when that email pops up, you're just a little less likely to respond with that fight or flight. Physical well-being that might help from this practice includes boosting your immune system, better ability to manage chronic pain as well as chronic disease. It allows you to avoid stress eating and emotional eating, which supports a healthier weight. It also helps manage substance use disorder and other addictions. And mindful practices foster an overall healthier lifestyle and awareness of your body and mind. And the body and mind really take the forefront, and that can help us to improve our sleep as well. Mindful meditation does all of this by allowing the mind quiet time. It allows us to better associate the differences in that fight or flight response and processing situations. Mental and emotional well-being are also supported by mindful meditation, as it reduces stress, anxiety, and depression symptoms. It improves your focus, and it helps us adapt to varying circumstances because it improves cognitive flexibility. So just like Joanne was talking about how yoga improves our physical flexibility, mindful meditation can improve that cognitive flexibility and allow us a little bit more room when we're thinking through things. It reduces the likelihood of emotional reactivity. It nurtures your ability for self-compassion and self-acceptance, and it improves the sense of work-life balance. So it gives us that ability, again, to think things through a little bit more, consciously, and be a little more supportive and positive with ourselves. Mindful meditation assists your body with distinguishing that fight or flight. Again, it's really important, and it gives us better overall physical and mental health. So let's talk about getting started. Again, I said I wanted to talk to you if you're a beginner about doing this. Now that we know that it gives us a lot of mental and physical health benefits, getting started with mindful meditation means locating a source that assists you and supports you. I would suggest I'm going to suggest how to find some resources, and I'll also email those out to you after the presentation today. The ones I'm going to suggest are free. And I think that that's important because there are some out there that you might have to pay for, and that's not really necessary. In the meantime, consider blocking off time each day just for you to do this practice. If you find yourself making excuses or not prioritizing or prioritizing other things, try to remember that the health benefits for this that you could see are really, really going to be good for you. It's a kind gift. And it's a kind gift for you, and it's a kind gift for the ones you love, because it could extend that fuse that might be a little too short right now with people. Maybe that, there's a lot of that going on in our society. Maybe it could extend that fuse a little bit more for you, give you a little more grace, and give you a little more grace in the way you respond to people and react to people. Once you've blocked off some time to practice, test different practices to see what's best for you. You don't need to spend money, like I said, or search the internet. You can even guide yourself through mindful meditation by focusing in a comfortable position. It is worth noting that sometimes people who practice mindful meditation may feel emotional. If this happens, remember there are no right or wrong emotions, and it might be your way of coping with the awareness that you are feeling from this practice. So again, it's supposed to be something that comforts you. It's supposed to bring positivity to your life, and you don't want to beat yourself up for it. So if you're experiencing something, make note of it. And, again, you're thinking of thoughts, and then you're kind of pushing them aside. So don't be hard on yourself. Again, you need not spend a lot of money for the practice. It can be done anywhere at any time. I've practiced on the beach when, there's a lot going on around me. So you can do that. It might be more difficult for some people in certain situations, but you can do it. Popular poses for mindful meditation include the lotus pose, which is shown here at the top on the left. This yoga pose, if it's comfortable for you, is a really good example of a position you could take to practice mindful meditation. Walking is another way to practice mindful meditation. I want to, make sure that you're cautious when you do that, when you're moving and practicing, and that you're on even flat ground and you're safe. It's not going to be obviously a fast-paced if you're meditating, but rather a slow, purposeful one. Another way is sitting or lying down. And when you're sitting in the chair, make sure to be on the edge of the chair, which is preferred. But that's not to say that if that's not comfortable for you, that you could sit back and do it. So either way that's comfortable. Usually they prefer on the edge of the chair, but you can do what's good for you. Make sure your spine is nice and straight up and down, and that your head is the top of your spine and you're not like leaning in or slouching. So you want to be at a nice, stack those vertebrae on top of each other. Also, you want to make sure your feet are flat on the floor if you're in the sitting position, so that you're like kind of grounded with the floor. Lying down is another option that you can do. So people who choose to do this, they might do it on a yoga mat or a blanket. And then you're going to lay on the floor in what's called the corpse position. So that's laying with your hands at your side, face up, and then your feet are going to be out straight, and then your feet are going to kind of naturally fall as they fall aside. Now remember, any of these positions that are uncomfortable for you, or you're having a hard time practicing this way, then change it. Give yourself a break and try to find something that is comfortable for you, because it is all about your comfort level. One thing that I do want to mention is you want to do it in a space that's not usually dedicated for sleep, like your bed, because that's liable to make you fall asleep, or vice versa, it might make you have a hard time falling asleep eventually. So try to do it somewhere like the floor if you're lying down. And I also wanted to mention one thing that I noticed when I started practicing. When I started quieting myself down, I realized that the only other time I quiet myself down during the day is when I sleep. So I was falling asleep, I was dozing off, and that's fine, especially when you're first starting. If you're falling asleep and you kind of jerk yourself awake, or you realize you've done it, just again, try to bring yourself back to what you're doing and listening. If you're doing a guided meditation or scanning your body, figure out where you are. It's supposed to be something that's relaxing for you. So that might happen. It's natural, but you want to guide yourself back so you stay within the meditation. So do what's comfortable, but try to stay on track with that. All right, so we have this beautiful sunset that was taken right here in Cape May County. And to give you an example of, I want to try to do a short meditation with you now, just to introduce you to it, have you the opportunity, give you the opportunity to quiet down for a few minutes. So as I'm introducing this topic and how we're going to do this, I want you to take a minute to find a comfortable position. So that again could mean sitting in the chair. I'm in it. You can't see it, but I'm in an office chair. So I do it sometimes sitting in an office chair. So sitting in the chair, your neck is straight up and down, your spine is stacked on the edge of the seat, or you can do it in, sitting back, whichever is comfortable for you. But again, you don't want to be slouching forward. The other position that you can get yourself into right now is if you'd like to lie down on the floor, or if you'd like to sit in lotus position. Or if you'd like to stand, all of these positions are fine. So just take a minute and get yourself settled. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to do this. This is all what's comfortable for you. And also remember that the thoughts are normal and they're going to come into your mind, and just gently try to excuse them so that you can return to your time of meditating mindfully. It may help you if you're beginning to focus on your breath as the anchor, so just your normal breathing in and out, or if you'd like to engage in Joanne's breathing that she taught, you could do that too, but you don't have to. It can be just your normal breathing. If your mind wanders, simply go back to that breathing. Simply bring it back to your breathing. Your breathing should be natural, and again, at your own pace. It shouldn't be anything that you're following. I've placed this sunrise on the screen, and you may direct your gaze down at that screen, or you may be more comfortable closing your eyes. So whichever one is more comforting to you, please take time to do that. No one's, again, shown on screen, so nobody's watching you and what you're doing. It's your comfort level. So please feel free to do what's in your comfort level. We're going to do a short stop meditation today, which is great for beginners. And stop stands for stop sensations, and finally proceed with whatever you're doing. So we're going to stop what you're doing, take deep breaths for the T, observe your thoughts for the O, and not only your thoughts, but your emotions and your body and your sensations. And then finally, P, proceed to whatever you were doing. So it's like a nice grown-up timeout, the way I think of it. And it gives us a more focused and calm. It's time just for you. So again, please close your eyes or use the picture to focus on the screen, or direct your gaze down at one spot. Stop meditation is a great way to find focus. We constantly live in a distracted state of mind, bombarded with information and deadlines. Stop meditation helps you do a mental check-in of your body, emotions, and sensations in the present moment. It helps to create actions with awareness and intent rather than reactivity and ignorance. Next time you're reacting and responding to a difficult issue or person or situation, do a mental check-in with the stop meditation. Also know this practice is not a solution to difficult emotions. It's meant to help you practice self-awareness and process current experiences. Mindful meditation has been shown to reduce blood pressure, heart rate, and help a person develop slow breathing. It's very common to experience slight lightheadedness, dizziness, or visual blurring after meditating. These experiences are especially common when one practices deeper and longer meditations. It is very similar to what one may experience after a relaxing massage. So don't panic if you experience this. Just allow yourself some time to open your eyes when we complete the meditation and let your body gently awaken from the deep sleep and relaxation. So we're going to do the stop meditation in a 4-step process. Your eyes should be closed and you should be in the comfortable position, or your gaze should be downward at the picture on the screen or just downwards. It starts with stopping what you're doing, which we've already done. We're now sitting, lying, or standing in a comfortable and dignified posture. We naturally create this posture when we sit on the floor, the edge of the chair, or standing well balanced on your feet. Make sure to adjust your posture now. Make sure your legs are not crossed, but are simply resting flat on the floor if you're sitting. If you're lying down, allow your hands to fall to your side and allow your feet to naturally fall outward in corpse pose. If you're in the lotus pose, remember to stack your spine and head. Gently close your eyes and relax your shoulder and your neck and your spine. Let's begin by taking a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Take a few minutes to follow your body's natural rhythm of breathing on your own. Take a few deep breaths in to find equilibrium or center and bring your full attention to the present moment. Notice what physical sensations you are experiencing in your body. Is it a certain smell, a sound, or do you feel tension in your shoulders? Just notice whatever sensations are arising in your body. Don't feel as if the tension in your shoulders is bad. Just address it and recognize it and continue breathing and focusing your breathing. Now we will bring our emotions into awareness. What are you feeling right now? Is it calmness? Are you anxious, angry? Identify your emotions, or if you have none at all, that's fine too. Acknowledge that you're not feeling anything at all right now. Continue focusing on your breathing. Avoid thinking I statements like I am calm, I am anxious, or I am angry. Instead, acknowledge and separately label the emotions that come to mind. It is peace. It is worry. It is annoyance. This will help detach you from the emotions and in turn, soften intense emotional reactivity. What things can you do to nurture and support yourself? Now, when you're ready, take a few deep breaths, slowly open your eyes, and now we can proceed with the tasks you were doing. You can practice this technique throughout the day wherever you feel distracted, stressed, or overwhelmed. Think of it as a mental check-in, like I said, like a timeout for yourself. It's a great way of self-caring, healing, and pausing from the daily hustle and bustle. This technique is also effective before conducting a meeting or group tasks, or maybe even before responding to that fight or flight email. You could use it, but it helps to ground us and it helps to give us a chance to really know what's going on, acknowledge our emotions, and realize that they're separate from us so that we can continue on with our day. So as mentioned, there's no one way to practice mindful meditation. And I'm sure as everyone did that activity with me, you all had a different reaction or a different feeling coming out of it. You can mindfully meditate while stretching. You can do it while doing yoga or Tai Chi, or even walking, like I said, or taking intentional breathing breaks. No matter how you do a mindful meditation, make sure it is comfortable for you and brings you the enjoyment you desire to find quiet time in yourself. Again, it's going to take practice. It really is. Under the resources here, I have some locations listed, and again, I'll be emailing them out to everybody. But the links are for University of California at San Diego Center for Mindfulness, the Ohio University's Guided Meditation and Walking Meditation with Jack Kornfield. There are also apps, like I said, that require a fee, but the ones that I have listed here are all free. I also know I have a Fitbit, and there are some, if you scroll through the app for that, there are some free meditations. They charge for some, but there are some free on that. So I'm sure there's other places that you can find some apps that have it for free. You can do it by yourself, though. You can do mindful meditation by just sitting by yourself. You could close your eyes in one of those positions that I mentioned to you and just kind of quiet down. You could, scan all the parts of your body and go up or down your body to kind of recognize the sensations that you're feeling as you're sitting there and just concentrating on that breath. But that quiet time really, I think, has been very beneficial for me in slowing me down. And I'm hopeful that you will find that as well. And you hopefully, after listening to this presentation, you won't worry about, trying to get everything out of your mind. You recognize it and you move it on. This is my contact information, and you're welcome to reach out to me at any time. Like I said, I'll be sending out an email to follow up with you with those links for the different resources on where to find some guided meditation, mindful meditation. And then these are the resources that I used.